What's up, fam? It's your boy Demuir here, purveyor of all sounds underground. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel today, where I'll be discussing the topic / sensitivity with respects to covering of songs and music publishing. But before we jump into things, what I need from you is that SLC. Hit subscribe, like, comment, and more importantly, hit the notifications bell to stay in touch with the new videos that we have up and coming and are bringing live and direct to you. All right, so point number one, let's just jump right into this and I'll give some background and context. And before I jump into that, I just want to say a special shout out to LA, San Diego, Vegas. Loving being back on the road and your energy. It's been so great. So thank y'all for that. But in terms of this video, the background and context here is Danny Tenaglia posted recently his disdain for a cover of his song called Music is the Answer. And he also just went on to kind of make it very clear that he didn't want it to happen, didn't like the output of it. Funnily, years after it was already put out. But I want to be clear here before I jump into anything else. Because of the way music publishing works, what the label did was 100% legal. I will get into the conversation, or my opinion rather, of values versus legalities when it comes to this stuff. But what they did was completely legal. And the comments in the Facebook post, I must say, were fucking hilarious. And so when I wrote, I'm here for the comments, I literally was. That there's just a lot of funny commentary. There is some real dark shit, you know, people making threats at Glasgow Underground and the owner, Kevin McKay, which I found unfortunate. There's just different ways to voice your disagreement, and that part is unfortunate. But it is what it is. You know, when we get into this stuff, you're gonna, see some smoke when there's some violent disagreement on the matter. So this leads me to point number 2. This is so important in terms of why you need to get your publishing and the administration of your publishing in order. I shared an introduction video about publishing before, and if you guys didn't catch on to that, let this Danny Tenaglia situation be a thing that pushes you over the edge to make sure you get that shit in order. When I originally made the video, it was just to say, hey, you're leaving money on the table, etc. Why wouldn't you register your songs under your own publishing company and have people collect, mechanical sync rights, etc. for you? So when it comes to this stuff, I'm encouraging it, and you can check out that video that I did before. It has all of the details in terms of how to go about doing that and the definitions around the publishing world. But the way covers work, and because how they work is, if I am interested in covering somebody's song and I know it's being covered before, all I need to do as a label owner is to simply reach out to the owner of the publishing, which may or may not be the artist in this case, depending on what contracts you as an artist have signed. So as a label, you might even hate my label, the original artist of the song, but provided I have an agreement with whoever is managing your publishing and they say, yeah, sure, let's go ahead, license that, do the cheesy, corny cover or whatever you feel it is at the end of the day, there's absolutely nothing you could do about it, because the person administering your publishing, as long as they say, okay, pay me, and they're getting paid, which in turn you should make sure you're getting paid, that is all that is required. So that's why it's super, super important to make sure that your affairs in this area are really covered off well, and to make sure your vision is executed properly. So like if I had a certain song, I sample a lot, so I don't give a fuck really, but if I had a certain song, like tracks I've written with Cynthia Moa, like Here's to Friday, Discover, where I may have contributed to the actual lyrics being written in the song, I make sure that's covered off. And the people that administer my publishing, whenever an agreement or contract or request comes in, I'm the dude that gets to sign off. It's not somebody, oh yeah, go ahead, do that, sure, we'll take $1,000 for you to do a cheesy, corny cover of that tune. No, I'm the one who signs the checks, and that's a direct quote from Oprah in terms of managing your affairs. So be all over that shit, because you'll avoid these situations, especially when you're dealing with labels that say, yeah, we tried to license it from you, but you said no, so we just found another way to do it. This shit happens all the time. So get your publishing in order. And point number 3, what I want to talk about here is the people. I touched on it in the last point here about getting your affairs in order, but when it comes to people who are involved directly with your publishing and administration of it, it's important that you voice this as a concern up front, and you ask people, be it the persons or people that are administering your publishing or entertainment lawyers, how do I actively protect my songs from these situations? Like, let's be fair, Aretha Franklin is very well known for Respect, but that's a cover, right? So sometimes it could be done very well, but if artistically you feel a strong sense of values where you just want to make sure you suspended in time your original version and prevent other people from just being able to cover, license it, slice it, whatever corny ways they want, you need to take that responsibility up front. And this is not a slight on Danny by any means. Who knows? I don't know all the details in this situation. He probably has done a lot of this, but for whatever reason, they were still able to put the track out. I'm just highlighting what you can do very early in your career or wherever you are in your career to make sure you're asking these questions of the people that you will be engaged with when it comes to your music publishing and licensing administration. And point number 4, so this is just the complete flip side. It's really my opinion, my personal opinion, and I think I speak for a lot of different people. If you saw in the comments of Danny's original post, is just the intersection of values versus legality. So what I will say right off the top here is legality doesn't give a shit about your morals or your personal values as an artist or a company. Legality is just purely about what is in ink, what are the rules here, this is how we will play, and things go through, provided people follow things to a T. So that's why I said off at the top of this video, what the label did in this situation is completely legal. However, when it comes to underground electronic music and the way I run my label, Purveyor Underground, I simply do not want to be in any position where an artist can come back and say, based on my reputation, I did them wrong on this one. Even though it was 100% legal, I did them wrong on this one. Because effectively, that's what Danny is saying. My people said, no, you still went ahead and found a way to do it. Now, as an artist, I think, yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's some bullshit. And so if you're going to be a label that decides to take that risk and go ahead and push forward, don't be surprised by the blowback and smoke that comes from it. And I'm just saying from a values perspective in underground electronic music, because I don't believe covers share the same energy and spirit of the original and can outdo the original, which is why I just choose to stay away from it. But that's my own personal values. And as a label owner as well, if someone said, like, if I was very interested in doing a cover of one of Derek Carter's songs, I highly admire Derek, and he says no, I'll respect that and just back away and keep it moving until I find an artist or a label that's willing to allow me to do a cover. But when it comes to the legalities of things, they really don't care. So it really just, honestly, I think it just boils down to what you want to put out into the world as a label owner and as an artist. Do you want to fuck with a label that, really says, hey, I want to deliver this music to a new generation of people? Yeah, and it might ruffle some feathers, but I think in the long term, that's the right thing. And if you as an artist sign on to do that, that's your shit. Expect the smoke when it comes and take it as it comes. And I will say both parties in this instance stood up and said, these are my values. This is how I operate. And it's just really unfortunate. Some of the feedback has just been much more dark. But I do think the positive situation in all of this is that it's bringing awareness to artists. You got to be all over this shit at the end of the day. So in conclusion, I say be all over your music publishing. Make sure you got the right people managing things for you. And don't hesitate if in some cases you got to spend some money to make sure that happens consistently, and making sure you communicate effectively to get what you expect. Make sure you do that shit. I think I'm just going to end there. Much love and respect to you. Peace.